Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. Today we honor one of East Brunswick's fallen heroes with the dedication of Koch Lane at Dutch Road. Then Mayor David Stahl brings us a brand new business spotlight from BioReference Laboratories, located at 123 Dunham's Corner Road. And we will stop by the Senior Center to learn more about a special AARP-sponsored Tax Assistance program. All this, plus we have information on the upcoming 40th Annual Friends of the Library Bargain Book and Media Sale, and a special visit from some local Cub Scouts. So stay with us. Residents, veterans, and dignitaries from East Brunswick and Milltown gathered on Dutch Road for the dedication ceremony of Koch Lane in memory of fallen Army Corporal and American hero Stephen R. Koch.
We are gathered here today for a grateful and patriotic duty to dedicate this street and this sign to a fallen hero, one who has given all for his country. May we again dedicate our organizations and ourselves to the sacred ideas which are represented by all veterans and all servicemen and women in their service to God and country. Remain uncovered for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention! Present arms.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Cover.
Attention! Parade rest.
First, I wanted to say, as mayors, and I'm sure Mayor Stieber can attest to this, we go to a lot of events, and it never ceases to amaze me, a day like today, when we're here to honor Corporal Koch, that the turnout is as big as it is. I think it's what makes both of our communities so strong, is that our residents care so much about who they live with and what our country stands for, what our communities stand for. I also want to point out in the back, we have Sam Milram from Dutch Road Associates and Elliot Kasofsky from Frank Greek. They're the developers of this project. And when they came before the planning board, we threw out the idea that night that a wonderful way of honoring our veterans was to start naming our streets in East Brunswick after our veterans. And the Koch family immediately came to mind, and Elliot and Sam were very gracious to immediately say, absolutely. So it's a wonderful idea. And I think what's very important is that we consistently remember those that have served our country and those particularly who have given their lives in service of our country. So many of us here are parents, and as generations and generations go on, people sometimes lose sight of the fact of what our country is about. And even a simple naming of a street and a beautiful sign will always be a remembrance of why Corporal Koch first served his country, and also might inspire others to serve their country, whether it's in the armed forces or other ways to serve our country. And I think that's incredibly important. There's a lot of people here I want to give my thanks to for putting this together. First, I want to thank Ron Dixon from the American Legion, Kimmer Post number 25 of Milltown, as well as Commander Kuhil from VFW Post number 133. They worked tirelessly to put together this event, and I want to thank both of them as well. We have Commander Mike Goff of District 8 here today, as well as the Patriot Guard, Warriors Watch, the Nam Knights, Rolling Thunder, and the East Brunswick Elks are here as well. I want to thank the East Brunswick Independent Fire Company, as well as the Old Bridge Volunteer Fire Company, and the Milltown Fire Company for being here, as well as the two towns' volunteer rescue squads. Again, just when you look at the names of all the individuals that are here, I think it's important. These are people that give back to the community, and yet they're here to honor someone as well. I want to thank the East Brunswick Police Department for providing at the last minute. I know they worked, Sergeant Zook worked tirelessly with Ron and Tom. The turnout was so overwhelming. We've got extra people up here to make sure we all get home safely, and I want to thank them. But most importantly, I'll end with this, is keep remembering our veterans. Those that are serving our country now and their families, they need our help. We'll keep reminding all our federal legislators, and it always helps when people like us write to them, to continue to support them, because unfortunately our federal government sometimes forget our veterans after they serve our country. We may not forget them, but unfortunately I believe our government does, so I think we'd urge you to continue to write our federal legislators to do what they can to make sure our families and our veterans get the services that they need. Again, thank you so much for coming out and dedicating this to Corporal Koch. Thank you.
Thank you. To my right and below the sign is an example of the Fallen Soldier Battle Cross, Battlefield Cross, or just simply the cross. It is a symbolic replacement of a cross on the battlefield or at the base camp for a soldier who has been killed. It is made up of the soldier's rifle with bayonet attached, stuck into the ground, their helmet on top, dog tags hanging from the rifle, and the boots of the fallen soldier are put next to it. Its purpose is to show honor and respect for the fallen at the battle site. The practice started during the American Civil War, or perhaps even earlier. It was used as a means of identifying the bodies on the battlefield before they were removed. Today, it is an immediate means of showing respect for the fallen among the still living members of their troop. It might be seen in the field or base camp after a battle in Afghanistan or Iraq. It is used less today as a means to identify the fallen, but more as a private ceremony among those still living, as a means to mourn, as attending a funeral is not always possible for the soldiers still in the midst of battle. The helmet and the identification tags signify the fallen soldier. The inverted rifle with bayonet signals a time for prayer, a break in the action to pay tribute to our comrade. The combat boots represent the final march of the last battle. A beret, in the case of a soldier from an airborne unit, is sometimes used in place of the helmet. It reminds us that the soldier has taken part in his final jump.
First off, I would like to thank everybody that came out today. This is a tremendous outpouring for a young man that became American hero to the community of East Brunswick, Milltown, and North Brunswick in central New Jersey. One thing, I'm going to try to keep this short because that's what Stephen would want. Stephen was all about valor and trying to do the right thing. He very rarely was about vanity or the limelight. So my first point, I want to thank Mayor Stahl and the developers from our family and from our community for this, the idea and following through with the dedication to get this done and make this a reality in honor of Stephen R. Koch. The mayor thanked all the groups that are here. I'll just run through them really quickly. The American Legion, the VFW, all our motorcycle clubs, and our other veteran community that's here. One thing I would ask you to do is talk to these people during this ceremony or afterwards. See what you can do to help them. These groups that are here do a tremendous amount for our veterans, our troops, our wounded servicemen and women, and as you see today, they do a lot for the fallen heroes. So please reach out to them. They have events that they raise funds for, and they do a lot of behind the scenes that nobody ever knows about. My last point is about the person that's name is on this street sign. Stephen R. Koch was all about compassion, dedication, and courage. He had the will to go and serve his country and protect his family, his community, his nation, his freedom, besides protecting those that cannot protect themselves. And I've talked about this before, and our whole family has. That's been the most important thing that was Stephen's legacy, was to protect those that cannot protect themselves. And although we honor him today with memorial services and other tributes that go for a fallen hero, not only our family but our community would want this to be a living tribute, that the families and the children that live on this street their relatives and friends that come visit them, all those that come along this street on Koch Lane or down Dutch Road, see that sign for what it is, and that's compassion, dedication, and courage. And hopefully a lot of them and a lot of you have grabbed some of that today and will grab it in the future, because that's what Steve was all about. And I want to turn it back over to Ron and the mayor, but again, I thank everybody on behalf of my whole family. We really can't thank the mayor and the Legion and the VFW and everyone that's here enough. Thank you very much.
Hand salute.
Present arms.
Hi, it's Mayor David Stahl with another edition of Business Spotlight. We're here at BioReference Laboratories at 123 Dunham's Corner Road, a very convenient location. And as we know, we always like to talk about shopping in East Brunswick, participating with our local retail establishments. Here we're at a laboratory facility which offers a unique way of treating their patients as opposed to some of the competitors, which are much larger in size but may not have that home treatment that you're going to find here at BioReference. Stephen, nice to meet you. You got a beautiful location here. Why don't you just briefly describe what BioReference does here?
Sure. BioReference is a clinical laboratory, and this is our patient service center, often referred to as PSCs. And this is a draw location for patients to come and have their blood work, urine, etc., collected, when physicians require them to have that work done. We are open 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. to 3. We also have hours on Saturday, 8 to 12. And patients can walk in here and get their blood work done at any time. We do not require appointments like some of the larger competitors do. So we're a walk-in facility, and our volume is such that it enables patients to literally come in and 95% of the time be seen immediately, get their blood work completed, and leave in a quick manner.
My question is always like businesses that open up in East Brunswick. Why East Brunswick?
Well, East Brunswick has a tremendous number of, obviously, physicians in the area. We're very close to Cranberry Road, where there are a number of them. And we realize that this is a big hub with number of towns close enough by. Obviously, the population in East Brunswick is very large, but even South River, Old Bridge, those types of areas. So we wanted to have a presence here. We have 3 draw centers currently in Middlesex County, one in Metuchen, one in Woodbridge, and we wanted one here in East Brunswick based on the reality of the patient population.
And one of the things we talked about briefly before we went on camera is the fact that you're a local New Jersey company.
Sure. Yes, we were established in the early 80s, 1981 to be exact, up in Elmwood Park, New Jersey. Dr. Mark Rodman is the chief physician who created the company many years ago. We've been there ever since. We employ over 4,000 people here in our company. And we are very proud of the work we've done through a lot of science innovations and things that we do unique that have made us the largest regional lab in the country and the 4th largest lab basically in the country.
Stephen, a lot of times when patients come in, particularly with the young ones, they may be tentative with respect to, their blood being drawn. What kind of training goes into your staff to make them feel more comfortable as that procedure?
Sure. Our phlebotomists are obviously trained and certified technicians. In the case here, Marizo, our phlebotomist, our full-time phlebotomist who works here, has been with Bio over 7 years and has been drawing blood for over 20 years. She's in a wonderful phlebotomist with wonderful skills. She does both pediatric and geriatric draws, as well as obviously everyone else, and she has great skills. So there's generally not very many issues related to the draws. Again, it's usually a pretty painless situation, as much as a blood draw can be painless.
I think when people look and have to go to a lab based on their doctor's recommendations, I think they're looking for two things. One, is it convenient? Can I get out quickly? And two, what kind of insurance will the lab take so that I know that I'm covered? Can you talk a little about your insurance coverage?
Absolutely. That's one of the things and one of our primary reasons that we are very convenient for most patients. We're the only lab in New Jersey that participates in all networks. That basically means that any patient with any insurance we are able to take and be in network. You often hear the really small labs say they can take everyone. They're usually not in network, and they're kind of working around the system, or the large labs who only can participate in some insurances. Because we're a regional lab and we don't have to compete on a national level, we are in every network. In addition to that, and those networks are obviously the large ones: Aetna, United Healthcare, Horizon, Cigna, etc. In addition to that, we obviously participate with all the federal and state programs for Medicare and Medicaid. And in addition to that, we think we have the best program for those patients who are uninsured. We know that's a population that's sadly growing at times, and even if it's a transient group in between employment, it is a difficult reality. Most patients will budget for their doctor visit, but when the doctor says they need blood work, they get very nervous about what that cost will be. So we have a program that will allow patients, if uninsured, to get that discount of 70% on their blood work. That gives them a little comfort to know that they can come get blood work done as their physician requests and not get hit with a large bill. So a 70% discount is pretty significant. It's a really simple program. They're given a card from their physician, who is obviously requesting the blood work, and they just have to present that card and their blood work will be reduced significantly.
That's very commendable on you and on the company to handle patients like that. Let's just go over some basics. Your location here and what your phone number and hours are.
Sure. We're located at 123 Dunham's Corner Road. Again, our hours are Monday through Friday, 7 to 3, as well as Saturday, 8 to 12. Our phone number is 732-955-6597. You can also go on the internet for bioreference.com and find all of our locations. Sometimes it's more convenient for a patient to go somewhere where their work, or on their way to work or such. So you always have opportunity to do that, and all of our facilities work the same way. They're walk-in facilities, and our volume is such that, again, as I had indicated, you can just kind of usually most times come in, get your blood work, go home, which is a nice benefit.
I can only speak for myself personally. Sometimes you go to the doctor, and you do get that referral to go to a lab, and then you think, oh my God, I got to make an appointment. I got to look at my calendar. What's from your perspective of, do I need an appointment to come in here always?
No, no appointment necessary. We are a walk-in facility, so there's never an appointment required. You can come in at any time that's convenient for you. It works generally well that way for most patients. If they have seen their doctor and they have time, they'll go right then for blood work. If they're fasting and want to go before work, they can come here as early as 7 a.m. But there is no appointment required for a visit. I know the larger labs, our competitors, require an appointment under most circumstances, and usually it's a week or more out to even get that appointment. So it becomes sometimes inconvenient for them. That's where the convenience of a BioReference comes in handy.
In labs such as this, I mean, I would assume that a lot of your testing, if not all your testing, is governed by certain standards set by the state.
Absolutely. We're required to follow all of the Department of Health regulations, and we need to be licensed by a number of different authorities. We are, as I said, a very large lab here in New Jersey, so we have to follow all the appropriate rules, all the appropriate regulations that are required by law.
That's great, because I think that gives, again, consumers that level of comfort that whether you think you're going to the biggest company or any company in the state of New Jersey, that we're all going to follow the same rules that are set by the state.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're required to meet those standards, and we do. We're licensed appropriately. All of our facilities, including this facility, are licensed appropriately, so there's no issues there.
Well, I commend you, because I've come from a retail experience with myself, and sometimes, there's always this misconception that the smaller type businesses don't offer as much, and I always found it's just quite the opposite, because we're especially attuned to providing the service that the big guys just can't do anymore.
Well, we find ourselves, we think, uniquely positioned. There are very small labs in New Jersey, and we're not one of those, which is good. We feel we have access to insurances, access to testing. We do literally 98% of the testing we perform ourselves here in New Jersey. We're right size, as we feel. We're the fourth largest lab in the country, but we're not as big as the large, very large national commercial labs. So we have all the infrastructure, we have all the technology, and everyone should feel very comfortable using BioReference from a technical perspective, and obviously with our access to all the insurances, making life very easy, we hope, for the patients.
Sounds like the best of both worlds.
Yes, well, that's the goal.
I appreciate you spending some time with myself and the residents of East Brunswick, introducing BioReference Labs here at 123 Dunham's Corner Road. You know, it's not the type of thing that when we talk about Shop East Brunswick that you're going to go out and say, oh, when I wake up this morning and go to a lab. But seriously, if there needs a time that your doctor recommends getting some lab work done, I'd highly recommend that you stop here at BioReference at 123 Dunham's Corner Road and get some great service, and your lab results will be surely sent to your doctor in an appropriate time. Again, thanks for watching, and Shop East Brunswick.
Hi, I'm Sharon Riley Morosi, Assistant Director for the East Brunswick Department on Aging, and this is the Voice of Experience. Today I am at the Senior Center with Abbas Dohadwala. Abbas is the coordinator for the AARP Income Tax Assistance Program. Abbas, tell us about the Income Tax Assistance Program.
Well, the AARP Tax Aid Program is a free tax preparation service for low and moderate income residents, and especially with emphasis to those who are 60 and older. I want to make sure that you understand that it is a free tax service, no strings attached, and there is no discrimination based on race, color, sex, national origin, or disability. In addition to the free tax program for federal taxes, we also prepare the New Jersey income tax and the property tax reimbursement or the senior freeze.
Now tell me about how you would protect the taxpayers' information. People are often concerned about that.
Yeah, this is a very good question. There is a lot of concern these days about taxpayer ID safety. There are several things we do. First, we make sure that we check the Social Security card or driver's license information for the taxpayer and the spouse. Secondly, if there are dependents claimed, then we also check to see the Social Security card of the dependents. Thirdly, all the information that the taxpayers bring with them, their income and expense documents, we make sure that we return everything to the taxpayers after it's entered into the computer. Finally, the tax return itself is electronically sent to the IRS and New Jersey State. And in this way, we don't keep any information with us once the taxpayer is signed off.
Now, Abbas, the volunteers prepare to do this. What type of preparation do they have?
Well, all our tax preparers are volunteers and residents of East Brunswick. And they are, every year, all the tax preparers, new as well as returning tax preparers, have to take tests and have to be recertified. So this happens every year.
And where do the preparations take place?
As in previous years, the tax preparation is done at the East Brunswick Senior Center in East Brunswick. Actually, we have been providing this service for more than 30 years, and East Brunswick Senior Center has been generous in providing its facility and resources for this purpose. At this point, I would like to, as the coordinator for AARP, I would like to thank the East Brunswick Senior Center for hosting this program.
Well, you are welcome, and we are grateful for the time and expertise that you share with all of our residents. Now, when are the taxes prepared?
Well, we generally start in the beginning of February, on Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 till noon, and then this year the last day for tax preparation will be Friday, April 11.
And how would someone make arrangements to have their taxes done?
They would call the senior center to get an appointment, and then based on the appointment they come in, and then we prepare the taxes.
So, what type of documents should the residents bring with them? What's the taxpayer's responsibility?
Again, Sharon, this is a very good question. It's the taxpayer's responsibility to bring all the tax information that pertains to income and expenses, because eventually the IRS holds the taxpayer responsible for the tax return. So that's why we ask the taxpayers to make sure that they bring all the information so we can accurately prepare the tax return. In order to make sure that they haven't missed any information, we also ask them to bring the previous year's tax return, because this way we are able to spot if anything was missed or forgotten by the taxpayer.
Are there any other applications that you help residents with?
What we have recently found is that there are many residents who are not aware of the property tax reimbursement program or the senior freeze, and we'll help them to file those forms so they can take the benefit of the program.
All right. Is there any other information you want the residents to know about the program?
Well, actually, we are very happy and pleased to provide this service. Last year, we did almost 300 returns, and we have been very busy this year. And we just hope that the taxpayer is able to bring all the information that we need to provide this service.
Well, boss, I want to thank you for all the time that you have spent to coordinate the program. And if you would like to make an appointment to have your taxes prepared here at the Senior Center, please call us at 732-390-6896, as well as if you would like other information about programs and services available through the East Brunswick Department on Aging, you can call us at the same number. And please remember, the East Brunswick Department on Aging is here to help you and yours age successfully.
The 40th Annual Friends of the Library Bargain Book and Media Sale kicks off at the Brunswick Square Mall on Monday, March 24th from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Thousands of items, including books, audiobooks, music CDs, and DVDs, will be up for grabs during mall hours from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. every day until Sunday, March 30th. This much-anticipated event draws thousands of people across New Jersey looking for media items that are offered at deep discounts. All proceeds go toward the East Brunswick Public Library. For more information on the book sale, as well as other events sponsored by the Friends of the Library, please visit East Brunswick Public Library's website at ebpl.org. And be sure to check out the largest bargain book and media sale of the year in Central Jersey.
We would like to thank Metuchen Cub Scouts Pack 15 Den Number 1 for taking a tour of the EBTV studios as they work towards a badge. And we will toss it to the troop for an important message.